Politics and Profits with your host, Rick Amato.
All right, welcome back to Politics and Profits, everybody. I'm Rick Amato. People vacationing on the moon, robots replacing humans in the workplace, electric cars. Where are the world's biggest trends headed? And how can you cash in and make big bucks from those trends? Joining me at this time from his Manhattan office is investment banker and CEO of Blackhawk Partners, Ziad Abdelnour. Mr. Abdelnour is also author of the book Economic Warfare, Secrets of Wealth Creation in the Age of Welfare Politics. Ziad, welcome to the show.
My pleasure, Rick.
Great to have you on our debut show. Listen, you just wrote an article. You just wrote an article recently about how people can cash in on the big trends. Tell us what those trends are and how they can cash in. Let's take that first one. Number one, artificial intelligence. It scares the bejeebers out of me. I don't want a robot sitting here next year in my place.
Well, whether you want it or not, it's happening. It's just a question of time. Welcome to the Industrial Revolution. Welcome to the exponential age. I mean, look, it's really all across the board. I mean, if you look at 10 years ago, the Fortune 500 companies versus today, more than half of them are extinct. And the same thing is going to happen.
That. Wait a minute. More than half of the Fortune 500 companies from 10 years ago are extinct?
Not absolutely, or not anymore there. Like a Kodak and others. I don't remember all the names, but yes, I've done a lot of research on that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's huge. And in the next 10, 20 years, the rate of extinction is going to go even faster. You know, the technology has reached a point whereby, and it's all across the board, from health to education to software to artificial intelligence to transportation to real estate to insurance, you name it. The name of the game, Rick, is not like they say, survival of the fittest or the smartest one will survive. No, it's not the smartest one who will survive. It is the guys who can adapt the faster to changes, because the only constant is change, and the faster you adapt to the change and you move along the curve, the more likely you're going to survive. You know what?
That's a very interesting point. I'm going to interrupt you. I want to underscore that.
Please, go ahead.
As you say, it's not about survival of the fittest. It's not about the smartest. I mean, that's how we're all raised and trained and to believe. What you're saying is, going forward, it is those who are able to adapt to change, which will be the biggest factor in whether or not someone is able to make the type of living that they want to make.
Yeah. I mean, look, to come back to my point in my book, and I'm going to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
Business is war. Business is war. And the way you win wars, it's not usually the biggest who wins wars or the smartest, but the person who can gather incredible and second to none intelligence. The more you can really gather that intelligence and see where it's headed, you can position yourself accordingly ahead of the curve and get all the profits. This is what it is.
All right,
it's
so do you have any suggestions out there?
It's not bronze or brains, it's intelligence.
Kind of like David and Goliath. You said it's not the biggest, but the one who adapts. What about, so how do you adapt to that change that in the world that we're going forward with? How do you adapt and get the information with things such as the changes through artificial intelligence, electric cars, so on and so forth?
Well, you know, like Albert Einstein used to say, what matters is not really how smart you are, but how big is your imagination.
Wow.
So you have to really think, imagine, think, sit down, forget about everything, drop everything, imagine the world in 10 or 20 years. Where is it headed? You know, and you know what, a lot of people, because they're going through the rat race, they don't have time to do that.
That's right.
They don't have time to do that. They're just, running from one thing to the other. But, you know what, I mean, look at it. I mean, cars, we're going to use less cars. Cars, I mean, in 2018, now you're going to have the car that drives itself. In 2020, this is going to disrupt all the car industry. An example, okay? When the car industry is disrupted and you don't have to drive a car anymore, you don't have to store cars anymore. transportation is going to be live is now very, you don't have to live anymore in the big cities. You can live anywhere you want because you can work while your car is driving itself. I mean, exactly. I mean, this is a tiny example. Robots, the same thing. Right now they have a technology in healthcare, TriCode, where you can test your breathing, your blood, and I mean, just a couple of things where you can determine your health and how much you're going to live, what kind of diseases you have. I mean, it's all over the place. It's pervasive all over the place.
Ziad, we're down to our final remaining minute. Do you have any general advice for our viewers out there in terms of what they can do to make sure that they are staying ahead of the curve and adapting the change with the kind of change you're talking about?
Well, let me tell you something and tie it up to the political process.
Please.
The politics work for big companies. You have to abide by the system. The guys who are going to rake the obscene money are the rebels who are not going to play by the system, but who are going to really go and invent their own sandbox, their own system, seeing where it's going. That's how you're going to create obscene wealth. You're going to be free and independent. So my advice, free your mind, be independent, be self-reliant, gather the intelligence. You can do whatever anybody else can do if you use your imagination and pull together the resources, human capital, financial capital, and others to execute on your plan. It's all about execution of your idea.
Ziad Abdelnour, investment banker, author of the book Economic Warfare. We thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up next, it's our